Now, this is Kuala Lumpur International Airport. Over 18 million people pass through here every year, but few of them get to see what I've come here in search of.
Malaysia's topside hides another world. Jam-packed with colour and dense with life. Reefs bursting with coral and fantastic creatures. Waters rich with thousands of species of spectacular fish.
Oh my goodness me! I've been told some of the world's best dive sites are right here, which is why I'm going on the mother of all underwater adventures to find them.
Come on boy, come and get it. Can't believe I'm talking to a fish.
The great marine explorer Jacques Cousteau's adventures captivated me as a boy. His books reveal beautiful and bizarre sea creatures in an underwater world I could only then imagine. Explorer, conservationist, filmmaker, writer, inventor, diver, Cousteau did it all. And as I watched his films in those faraway places, I wanted to be there with him. I wanted to go exploring too. I wanted to be the diver. Now I've got the chance to do just that, to follow a part of Cousteau's journey. I'm charting a course in a quest to find Malaysia's top dive sites, including one with a mysterious underwater cave that Cousteau himself put on the map. My adventure starts here in Tioman, the largest island off the east coast of peninsular Malaysia. Often one of the first ports of call for anyone wanting to explore Malaysia's underwater landscape. Tioman is a microcosm of Malaysian richness, with dense rainforests, ragged mountains and biodiversity that literally hangs from the trees, surrounded by coral reefs that make for great diving.
Since I'm here in Tioman, it seems only right that I get a chance to see what a pristine coral reef actually looks like. And to help me, I have enlisted Ben, who is a local dive centre owner, captain of this very boat, and all-round local legend, are you?
Hey, nice introduction.
So how long have you dived here on Tioman?
I lived on this island for 27 years, so I've been diving pretty much every day.
Big question, of all the sites here, what's your favourite?
It's Tiger Reef.
Tiger Reef?
Yeah, I mean, it's an underwater pinnacle that starts at 7 meters, drops down to about 24, 25 meters, and the diversity in rock formation is just mind-blowing.
You sold it to me, should we just go? Let's
see it.
Yeah, let's do it.
At about 25 metres, Tiger Reef is a relatively shallow dive, but Ben tells me there's some strong currents. Now, it's been a while since I've been in the water, so it's right into the fire, so to speak. Let's see if I've still got the chops.
This is very, very beautiful down here. There's no sign of this sort of landscape from the surface. It is absolutely glorious. Oh, wow! There's a yellow-tailed barracuda. Individually spectacular, collectively magnificent. This is a world of watery wonderment. There's no other words for it. It is stunning down here. Wow, look at this. Absolutely just stuffed full of life. vintage barrel sponges. That one looks like someone's had an accident on the potter's wheel. Now it's easy to be impressed by the electric blue markings on this blue-spotted stingray. But if you watch the scene a little longer, something more subtle is apparent. That little yellow and blue thing with a black stripe down its body is a cleaning rat, and it's basically giving that stingray the cut of a fish pedicure.
"57 minutes of absolute dive fantasy. You dream of stuff like that, you know. That's why you learn to dive, for experiences like that. And little did I know, when I was learning to dive in the miserable cold waters of the UK, that was what it was going to lead to. And that's what's so great about diving. You just don't know what adventures it's going to take you on.
Now, I love diving, but I'm also a naturalist. And I can tell you that without the coral reefs down here, this place would be an absolutely barren place. These aren't souvenirs, but Malaysian reef scientists at work. Let's go topside and find out just what they're up to.
Welcome, Warnick.
Good to see you.
Good.
I'm Keith.
You're Keith.
Yes.
What's the plan today?
We're going to collect some freshly broken fragments of corals, and we're going to bring it to the nursery site and we're going to plant it.
What makes for all this magical wonderment around Tioman, the fish, the hawksbill turtles, is the coral. Reefs like these are the breeding grounds for all the world's oceans.
So Key is now picking up the debris left behind after the turtle smashed its way through the stag's horn to get to the anemones. All the little polyps in those bits of coral would normally die part of the way at the reef. But in this instance, Key is harvesting those fragments and he'll be taking them to another site.
This looks like rows of miniature reindeer antlers, but in fact, this is staghorn coral, a species facing threats around the world. But thanks to the guys here like Key, it's making a comeback here at Tioman.
Simply a case of making his cable tie loops on these plastic lumbing frames here. Itself contains dozens of tiny little polyps, little coral organisms all inside there. Once they've settled in, they'll carry on growing. These are the cuttings we've just done, but look what happens after a bit of time. They continue to grow. You can see that because these have become much more broad. In the near future, these will then be able to be taken off and replanted to other reefs elsewhere.
I'm told the scientists here have a new trick up their sleeves when it comes to Tioman's reefs.
You're passing electric currents through a metal frame on which coral's growing. How does that actually help the corals?
Well, it helps the coral to enhance the growth.
So you're really giving it a boost in its life cycle by taking care of the building stage, just getting established.
The corals on an electric reef or biorock, it grows 4 times faster than normal.
I'm quite excited by this.
Yeah.
Should we suit up?
Yep.
These may look like funky art installations, but these are freshly planted biorocks. A year from now, you won't recognise this place. There should be an explosion of life. And like any boy, I can't resist.
Only joking. I can't feel a thing, not even a tingle. But just because I can't feel it doesn't mean it's not important to the corals growing on this frame. Press the button, there's a pulse of light. Somewhere inside that coral, we've made the day of a little cluster of algae. It's quite amazing magic, this, microscopic magic. And without it, none of the other experiences we think of as coral reef could possibly exist.
Tioman, an extraordinary island with extraordinary diving. But now it's time for a totally different experience. A wall dive more than 1,000 kilometres from here across the South China Sea.
can clearly see from up here the shallow water, the coral reef below me, and this is KK's claim to fame. It's probably one of the only cities on Earth that has its own coral reef within a stone's throw of the city centre. Between touching down in KK Airport and swimming with the fishes can be as little as 25 minutes.
Next stop on my Malaysian adventure, Sabah, Malaysia, on the island of Borneo. The capital of Sabah, Kota Kinabalu, gets its name from nearby Mount Kinabalu. A bustling port, KK is the gateway for anyone exploring Malaysian Borneo.
I'm here in Kota Kinabalu, or KK as it's referred to, because it's here I'm going to be turning up the style on my adventure. There she is, the Raja Laut, although technically it should be there he is, because that literally translates to King of the Seas. That is going to be my home for the next 2 weeks.
You would have seen a lot of schooners like this on the 19th century seas. Nowadays, they're a rarity. Christened in 2006, Captain tells me that the Raja Laut was built to last 100 years.
It was built by traditional craftsmen with traditional tools. The hull is all entirely built of ironwood.
Right, okay.
Something about timber that is unique. Unfortunately, it's getting scarce.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the last boats of that class.
I've boarded the schooner the Raja Laut because where I'm headed next is a bit more out in the open ocean. A good full day and night sail away. For that, I needed a good map and a seaworthy ship. My motto, always be prepared.
I'm on my way to Layang-Layang right now. I'm in arguably the world's most beautiful schooner as well. Raja Laut is now under wind power. Fantastic. And it's free.
Layang-Layang, Swallow Reef in English, is a tiny atoll. Blink and you'd miss it. So don't blink. It holds some secrets below. There's a Malaysian dive resort here, but as part of the disputed Spratly Islands, Layang-Layang is also claimed by several other Asian nations.
Nearly 24 hours later, we have finally arrived. That there is Layang-Layang. Now, it's not much to look at from the surface. There's a runway, there's a military base, and there is a dive resort there. However, it's not what's topside we've come here for. It's what's going on beneath the surface.
There's a coral wall here that goes down 2,000 metres and faces out into the seemingly endless open ocean. It makes for what is known as a wall dive. It's a good thing I've got my diving guide Richie, who knows his way around.
It's kind of a first for me, but we're now heading off the reef edge into the blue. This is that feeling you kind of get into diving for. It's that feeling of weightlessness. It's that feeling like you're flying. This is already a totally different dive. There's a nice current running along the edge of the ridge, which is just brilliant for a whole variety of different life forms. There's a few superstars to look out for, and that is one of them. Giant trevally. A nice big green turtle. Always nice to see.
Sea turtles are what's known as a flagship species, a kind of symbol of their habitat. If they're healthy, there's a good chance other marine life around them is also flourishing.
Oh my goodness me, that's a huge giant clam. The actual shell, which is covered with the mantle, which is this soft skin all around it. And that soft skin, if you look very closely, has got lots of little holes, little mirrors in it, and a green tinge. Now that green tinge is millions of algae that are living inside the tissues of its mantle.
These giant clams live 100 years or more and are one of the most misunderstood sea creatures. People once believed they were man-eaters and would grab you as you swam by. Rubbish, total myth.
A lionfish, one of my favourites, not just because it looks so fancy and flamboyant with all those flaps and flanges on its fins, but actually because of the way it's hunting. And this guy's hunting right now. It's using those beautifully elaborate pectoral fins that make it look a little like a Chinese dragon.
Fantastic visibility. Just beautiful to be able to see the landscape underwater. Hardened divers tend to get a little bit, I've seen that, they start creating lists. But for me, the beauty is to actually watch an individual fish. Why is it on the reef? What's it doing? How's it interacting with other creatures on the reef? And that for me is the magic of diving. And if you can learn to do that, it creates a whole new dimension to the experience of us being underwater with the fish.
Hard to believe maybe, but that wonderful underwater landscape is directly connected to a place chattering with the operatic cacophony of 8 breeding bird species, appropriately named Bird Island.
When I'm underwater at the moment, I'm still bamboozled by just the spectacle, all those fish, all those colours. And it's very difficult to hone in on the individual species and the characters and the different bits of behaviour. And I guess it's similar when you land on an island like this. The spectacle is just so spectacular, but once you've started focusing in on individual birds, you see all sorts of things happening. Watching the adult birds, you see a bird fly in, you see it meet its mate, you see what you do, a bit of pair bonding, then you see a lot of arguments with the neighbours, a lot of shouting over the fence. And then, of course, the important bit, which are the chicks here. They're all sitting around waiting for mum or dad to come in with a crop full of fish. And that's it. This might seem totally in contrast to the peace and the non-smelly environment of the ocean. This is entirely dependent on the world we are diving with. And every now and then, when you see that fish slither down the beak of the adult bird into the gullet of the chick, right there is that direct connection. It's all about the fish.
Next stop for me, Layang-Layang. There's a remarkable transformation going on here. Malaysian scientists are resurrecting once dying coral reefs. Layang-Layang is part of a marine conservation area that covers the space of 7 Manhattans combined. Fishing has been banned here for 11 years. And I'm here to meet Archie, who does some high-tech monitoring to ensure it stays that way.
This is a radar tracking system that we use to monitor fishing boats that come into conservation area.
So it's this that effectively keeps this paradise?
Yes.
Is this us here?
Yes, this is Layang-Layang, right. And within this area is the conservation area. In the past, we have fishing trawlers that trollings in between this area. And after enforcement work that we've been carried out, so right now the fishing activities is basically outside of conservation area.
Your action here is deterring fishing.
Yes.
But is that reflected in what you're seeing underwater as far as the diversity and the numbers?
Definitely, yes, definitely. Corals are good, fish population are good, diversity are more.
Wow.
Yes.
Once overfished, the area around Layang-Layang is now brimming with life. That's due, in part, to a few shipwrecks.
This here is the wreck that they call the Layang-Layang here. Now, whether or not you're of the school of thought that wrecks sat specifically to attract wildlife are just junk on the ocean, or whether they do form an artificial reef, it doesn't matter. I guess the story is kind of evident. This was an illegal fishing ship that was found in Malaysian waters, and it was confiscated by the fisheries department. And what was taking fish from this place is now, in its own way, giving it back. It's kind of poetic.
We're also out here for a bit of Archier's research, to find and measure a fish found nowhere else.
Oh, I see. There he is. Jawfish. But not any old jawfish. This is a giant jawfish. Archie wants to see if she can actually measure this, guys. We're going to see if we can lure it out of its burrow while Archie takes a picture. Come on. Come on, boy. Come and get it. Come on. Can't believe I'm talking to a fish. Fantastic fish. Absolutely wonderful.
Layang-Layang is a wonderful example of reef restoration, of conservation revitalising a site for marine life and for diving. I've hit 3 of Malaysia's top dive sites on my quest, but I'm not done yet. My final destination has it all. Shallow dives, deep dives, and marine life like you've never seen.
Now, the next stage in my adventure is to rendezvous with Alexandra Cousteau, and together we're then heading on to Sipadan, which is probably Malaysia's top dive site. And what makes this part of the journey just a little bit more poignant is that Jacques Cousteau, Alexandra's grandfather, was the man who made the rest of the world very much aware of this place and, of course, put it on every diver's wish list. There's nothing new about the concept of humans sticking their heads beneath the surface and gazing at a fish. We've been doing it ever since the first humans gazed upon the ocean. I guess nowadays we have scuba, we have the aqualine, which frees us from that tie to the surface itself. Now, it is rather poignant that this device was invented by Jacques Cousteau, and I'm sitting here waiting for his granddaughter Alexandra to actually arrive. But while I'm doing so, I'm going to take this opportunity to hook up with a guy called Sipadan, who is a master of the traditional fishing techniques of freediving and spearfishing.
Sipadan's one guy who has no need for scuba. His people, the Bajau Laut, are known as the nomads of the sea. Their traditional way of life is less evident these days, but Sipadan still lives it. He gets food for his family with the simplest of tools: his body, his breath, and a spear.
I have to say I'm feeling a little overdressed. Sipadan has got nothing but a pair of handmade wooden goggles and his underpants. And, well, I've got all the Western paraphernalia traditionally associated with snorkeling. I bet you I know who's going to catch more fish.
Sipadan's been doing this since he was a boy. Me, I'm, pun intended, like a fish out of water. Now, divers shouldn't try this. You could damage the coral.
Look at that. Wow, I saw that one. That's amazing. The fish don't know he's coming because they think he's a fish. Watching fishing done this way is akin to poetry. It is kind of how fishing should be. The odds aren't skewed in favour of one or the other. It really is a kind of a hands-on, sustainable, respectful way to gather one's food. It's just a shame we all can't do it this way. But absolutely beautiful thing to watch.
Now, here's a name you'll recognise when it comes to ocean exploration: Cousteau.
Hey Alexandra, how's it going?
Hey there, Nick.
How was your journey?
Good.
You must be exhausted.
It's good to finally be here. Thanks.
Okay.
Oh,
It's lovely.
Amazing.
We've got loads of things in store. Have you seen the office?
That one over there?
Yep, that's the Bajau Laut. That's where we're staying.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to the office.
It's brilliant.
I don't think I've ever said that before.
Alexandra Cousteau, water issues advocate and explorer, is carrying on a family mission that began over half a century ago with her grandfather, Jacques, and father, Philippe.
So coming back to Sipadan for me is kind of a slightly old thing because I've always wanted to come back here. But that's my journey. That's what I'm doing. But for you, you've got another journey going on, another more personal journey within, because obviously you've got effectively family ties to this place. And how does that make you feel?
When I think about the journey that my grandfather had with my father, Philippe, at that time they were seeing places for the first time. Certainly, I had never been here before, and I can understand why my grandfather got so excited about it and wrote about it in his books and made a film about it. And that's what feels good to me about being in this just magical place.
That magical place, Sipadan, the only oceanic island in Malaysia. Corals piled up atop an extinct volcano cone over thousands of years here, creating a place some would call paradise. Time to meet Rowan Perkins, dive master and conservationist.
So guys, the first dive we're going to do today is Barracuda Point, and it is probably the most famous one on Sipadan and one of the world's best dive sites. And Nick, you've dived this before quite a long time ago. It's back in '97 or something
I did,
like that.
yes. I'm afraid I can't remember much about it other than the fish. I was dazzled and blinded by fish.
Yeah, it's still pretty much like that. So basically what we're going to do, the boat's going to drop us into the area, and once we've done all our safety checks.
There's more marine biodiversity in the sea here than anywhere else on Earth. In other words, this is the motherlode.
The sun has been eclipsed by fish. It's not very many places in the world you are faced with a wall of big-eyed trevally.
Now I know what you meant when you said last time you were here you were dazzled by the fish.
Huge fish, tiny fish, the beauty and variety just go on and on and on.
Oh, look at all these fish, Nick. It's like the who's who of the coral reef. Just incredible.
We've only been in here. My dive computer says a couple of minutes, and already we've barely got down to 4 meters.
This has got to be one of the most beautiful landscapes that I've ever seen underwater.
I can see why Cousteau called this one of the last jewels of the planet. There are over 3,000 species of fish here.
Now, get ready for this. Look. There we have some bumphead parrotfish. Well, arguably the ugliest fish in the ocean, but with a character all of their own.
And look at the bumps on their head. The males use those, right, when they're competing over females?
I believe so.
This bump head just took a huge chunk out of the coral. You can see the bite marks.
The water visibility here has immediately dropped due to what they're doing.
And you can hear the crunch as well. It's amazing.
I'm sure that's fascinating, but I can't see you. I've just been crapped on. But that is, in essence, what creates the lovely sandy beaches of Malaysia. This here is effectively processed coral, and it comes out nice. It comes out in huge quantities, something like 90 kilos a year from each fish. Oh, great.
That's fabulous.
What's that?
That's pretty good.
Are you distracted by the bump head?
I'm distracted by everything. I'm sort of stunned, as no doubt you are as well. But I've also got lots of bump head poo. But that was pretty good, wasn't it?
It was amazing. I mean, it was just one of the few places in the world, Nick, where I can go somewhere my grandfather went and see it, if not exactly the way he saw it, at least close to how he saw it. I can understand why he got so excited about it.
Oh, it's great to be able to share it with you, and I'm really I can't wait. I want I want my surface time to finish pretty damn quick so we can get in the water
so we can
again.
go back.
It's
Yeah,
like,
I'm ready.
come on.
I'm ready to go back as well.
Come on, minutes, move.
One of the reasons we found this place just the way Alexandra's grandfather found it is the emphasis on conservation. The turtles here, such graceful swimmers. They captivated Jacques Cousteau. The hawksbills and the greens like this one are both endangered worldwide. For them, Sipadan is like a sanctuary.
I think all the green turtles come to just hang out.
Well, it's a perfect spot for them.
Yeah, it seems to be quite a scene developing around this particular animal. Just picking at the shell, picking at bits of dead skin. It amazes me that an animal such as a turtle holds this amount of interest to all these other fish.
It feels amazing to be here so close to them, doing whatever it is that they're doing. They're so tolerant of our presence.
Now, Sipadan's a turtle sanctuary, but our dive guide Rowan is working to make this place a shark sanctuary as well.
Oh, wow, look at this.
Look at this is amazing.
Oh, my goodness me. Wow, there's a whole pack of white-tip reefs.
There's 8 white-tip reef sharks circling under the jacks. This is very impressive.
Oh, it is. It's fantastic. I'm enjoying this immensely. Everywhere you look, there seems to be a shark, which is a pretty rare thing, isn't it?
It is absolutely a privilege to see these sharks here. In so many places around the world, sharks like this have disappeared. They are incredibly beautiful. It makes me think about the wealth of the Malaysian people to have all these sharks here.
One of these sharks is worth something like $100 US dead, but much more alive. Why, this truly is the shark of the reefs. He's able to park himself up just like this. Unlike many more of the open water sharks that have to keep swimming in order to breathe, this guy can actively pump the water over his gills, which is what he's doing right now.
They've been evolving for hundreds of millions of years. I think they've reached a perfection that is rare to see. They are so perfectly adapted for their environment.
Great to be in the middle of this kind of fishy soap opera. Yes, beautiful. This is what it's all about. I love this place.
I'm with you there. I've really fallen in love with Sipadan.
I still have visions of fish tornadoes in my head. Can't believe there's more tomorrow. It's glorious. I can see what captivated Cousteau. But now we're heading to a place many haven't returned from. And we've enlisted dive master Sham to help us get in. And more importantly, help us get out.
That way. If you have a problem, if you need to go up, if you need to go down, if you need to get out. This is calling the dive. Anyone at any point can call the dive. Any questions?
No, simple dive, but I learned some new finning techniques, a new language, and we're going into a cave.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
Why do I feel that I'm walking the plank here? This is a big part of what we came here for. Our next dive was at the centre of Jacques Cousteau's Sipadan adventure. But I'm a wee bit nervous. We're headed into what's known as the turtle tomb. Like all reptiles, turtles need to breathe. Some unfortunate ones swim in here, get lost, and never come back out. You need a special cave diving license and a special cave guide to enter this place. For better or worse, we've got both.
Now, what kind of crazy person discovered this, eh?
I always feel this wonderful sense of anticipation when I go into a cave. This time it's no different.
Sense of anticipation would be an understatement for me. It's kind of, this is unnatural.
It's like a snowstorm of tiny red krill. I love it.
Bizarre down here. I'm still not entirely sure if I'm really enjoying myself. Although I am certainly feeling a sense of adventure.
Nick, look up at the ceiling. It's like somebody painted it white. The walls are brown, but the ceiling of this cave is all white. Pretty fantastic.
And it just keeps getting spookier.
This has got to be one of the most bizarre things I've ever done.
Oh wow, look at the skeleton. It almost looks like it's been perched on this rock in some kind of an eerie still life. This was actually a pregnant female. You can still see the eggs inside of her. Oh my goodness, Nick, look at this one. It's enormous. He must have been quite an old fellow.
It's a proper catacomb, this one, isn't it?
I can't imagine how they must feel being stuck in this cave.
But that's enough of that sort of talk, Alexandra. Trying to change the subject. Let's think of something more positive.
Then it's like we're in some kind of mad scientist's laboratory.
You can see how the bubbles disappear into some of the stone where it's porous and pool in places where it's not. It's like having mirrors in the ceiling.
It's very cool. There's like puddles of air on the ceiling of the cave.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre, isn't it? It's all upside down here.
This is really, really cool. I'm absolutely loving it.
Oh, lovely. Beautiful blue light welcoming us home to the sunlight world. No words to really describe this feeling, but relief is one of them. The most beautiful bit of cave diving that this simple boy has discovered is leaving the cave. Don't get me wrong, it's not that I've not enjoyed myself, it's just I prefer the sunlight.
That's what I like to see, a live turtle.
You are having a blast down there.
I always get a kick out of being in caves, and I feel like it's not a place we're supposed to go. You know, you have to go there with extra tanks, and you have to go there with flashlights. But I definitely understand what you say about, you know, how good it feels to see sunlight again. And when we were doing our safety stop, I came up to about 5 meters, and I was just looking out at the branching corals and all of the little fish and the life of the coral reef. I kept reminding myself, you know, it's not something that's curated by Disney, that this is real, this is nature, this is all here naturally, and it just felt like home. It felt so good to see it.
Fitting, I think, to head from a turtle tomb to the place turtles get their start, as eggs buried in the sand.
So guys, this is the hatchlings. This is Jonas, the South Park's chief ranger.
There, Jonas.
See
How
ya.
are you?
Hi.
Wow, look at these.
These are babies, eh?
Yeah. Berapa penyu di dalam? Ada 58. There's 58 turtles.
58 turtles. So here's a thought. The parents of these very turtles, your grandfather may well have bumped into their parents. How about that? It's pretty mind-blowing, really.
They're so amazing, Nick. They're so beautiful.
Each one is like a little immaculate little clockwork toy.
Good luck, little guy.
So these little baby turtles start their journey as I'm ending mine. They'll swim the open ocean close to the surface a few years before returning as adults to these shores. As for my journey, it's been quite a success, I must say. I never imagined as a boy I'd be diving where Jacques Cousteau discovered one of the world's hidden wonders. Much less be diving with his granddaughter. Sipadan remains simply spectacular, throbbing with life, much as it was when Cousteau himself was here all those years ago.